Okay, let's unpack this. The first big idea we encountered in our sources, it moves us beyond just writing chronologically or, by different sectors. It's called the categorization approach, and it's all about using metaphors.
That's right. This approach, it encourages identifying a core keyword in the essay prompt and treating it as a metaphor. You then categorize this metaphor into various dimensions. It really provides a comprehensive understanding.
And a prime example given in the sources, it kept coming up, was that CSM 2022 quote, "The time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining."
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how the roof isn't just, well, a physical structure. It represents so many different aspects of life, challenges, opportunities, responsibilities, you know. The sources suggest applying this across diverse spheres. So you've got the literal roof.
Right, like timely home maintenance, fixing leaks before they start. Precisely. Then there's an emotional roof. Nurturing relationships, open communication, a professional roof, career development, continuous learning, a mental roof, self-care, stress management, building resilience, super important, and broader ones too. The societal roof, like addressing social issues, community responsibility, and the environmental roof, sustainability, conservation efforts.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting. The expert guidance. It pushes us to think beyond the common frameworks like PESTLE, political, economic, social,
Yeah.
all that. It pushes us to find unique roofs, things like family ties as a roof,
Yeah.
or character, or even things like a nation's demographic dividend or a diplomatic roof, internal security. They even used urbanization as an example. Like, if you are not repairing the roof of urbanization today, it will lead to further haphazard growth. And even a cultural roof, maybe addressing linguistic issues.
Wow, so many layers.
And the core theme across all these roofs is being proactive, addressing issues before they escalate. It emphasizes prevention over cure. As the sources state, I should not wait for the problem to aggravate. Makes sense.
And there's that Hindi proverb that captures it beautifully. Which means, roughly, what's the use of regretting when the bird has already eaten the field? It really hammers home that proactive point.
That is powerful. So for you listening right now, maybe pause and think. Can you identify a roof in your own life? Could be in your studies, your work, a personal goal, one that needs repairing while the sun is shining, before the storm hits. Good food for thought. Okay, so building on that proactive mindset, the next strategy is about staying current, right? Keeping things relevant.
Exactly. This is the contemporary approach. It focuses squarely on the present context, the relevance of the subject matter, and it strongly integrates hot topics and real-world examples. It's actually especially recommended for those who sometimes forget to include specific examples in their essays. We all do it sometimes.
So what does this mean in practice? Are we just like listing recent headlines?
Not quite just listing. It's more about directly addressing specific contemporary issues, particularly those relevant to a country like India, for instance. This naturally makes your essay current-oriented and GS-based, meaning it connects to general studies topics. So instead of just broad discussions, you're digging into specifics.
Gotcha. And the sources give a pretty long list of potential topics.
Oh yeah, an extensive list. Things like cryptocurrency, online gaming, urban infrastructure, cybersecurity, tax reforms, railway accidents, also jobless growth, inequalities, farmer issues, terrorism, rule of law, disaster management. Mental health was highlighted quite strongly. They called it a 100% likely question, actually, because of budget and survey discussions. And then gender inequality, communal and caste tensions, income inequality, unemployment, agricultural distress, corruption, issues around marriages, criminalization of politics, women's safety.
Wow, okay, that's comprehensive.
And more. Pollution, AI, taxation, tariffs, linguistic issues, the list goes on.
But the sources also said this is maybe a last resort approach, or best used strategically.
Yes, that's a fair point. They describe it as something to use when other strategies might not yield enough points, perhaps. It's not suitable for every essay topic. It depends on the prompt.
Right, makes sense. So let's connect these ideas. You mentioned mental health being highlighted. How might an issue like mental health be considered one of those metaphorical roofs needing repair while the sun is shining in our society?
Great question. It fits perfectly, doesn't it? Mental health is definitely a societal roof. If we don't address it proactively through awareness, accessible care, fighting stigma, while the sun is shining before it becomes a full-blown crisis, then the consequences, societal, economic, they're huge. It's about individual well-being, productivity, even the societal roof of just community harmony needs fixing now.
Okay, that really clarifies the link. So now we have these powerful thinking approaches to the metaphorical roofs and staying current. Let's talk about the architecture of the essay itself. Because, well, even the best ideas need a solid structure, right? A house to live in.
Precisely. And the sources offer some quite specific advice here, especially for the introduction. They typically recommend around 130 of 140 words, broken into 3 parts. First, an anecdote or a hypothetical anecdote. Just a short, impactful story, maybe 50, 60 words to grab the reader. Second, a brief historical background. Again, 50, 60 words, just setting the stage. And third, an overview or roadmap. Really concise, like 20 words, outlining the essay's scope, maybe mentioning the various roofs or dimensions you'll cover.
I like how structured that is, really disciplined. Imagine starting with a quick story about, say, a village facing water scarcity that proactively set up rainwater harvesting, that instantly connects to the repair the roof theme and pulls you in.
Exactly. And those word limits, they're not just arbitrary, they're crucial. They train you to be concise, ensure you don't spend a whole page on just one point. It leaves you ample space for that multidimensional analysis we're aiming for later. It's about starting sharp.
Okay, and then for the body paragraphs. The goal is multidimensionality, covering maybe 5-7 distinct roofs or types of crisis?
Yeah, breadth is key. Aim for 5, 7 different dimensions. And in terms of length, for a typical page, maybe aim for 2 paragraphs of about 60 words each per dimension, or perhaps 3 shorter ones of 40 words. This gives enough coverage without getting bogged down in too much detail on any single aspect. Keeps it moving.
And for that roof essay, each dimension should tell a kind of mini story.
That's a good way to put it. The sources suggested a pattern. 1, describe the issue, say emotional issues, but emphasize it's not yet grave. 2, explain the consequences if it's not repaired now. Use a bit of a threatening tone, as they put it, to match the prompt's urgency. And 3, propose solutions or mention government initiatives, like for mental health, mentioning programs like Begine.
Give it some teeth, repair this roof, or else kind of feeling constructively, of course.
Exactly. Show the urgency. And crucially, connecting these parts. The sources emphasize using implicit connectors between paragraphs. So rather than bluntly saying, let us now discuss this, you end one section in a way that naturally leads into the next.
Creating that flow, like a river, as they said.
Yeah.
So maybe you finish talking about contentment at home for the emotional roof, and you could transition by saying something like, this foundation of inner peace often starts with the value education children receive, which leads you right into the family roof. Then maybe from family values to broader traditional cultural values for the cultural roof. So it just flows. Precisely. That seamless flow makes a huge difference. Now, to broaden the perspective even more, the sources suggest a worldview section. Bring in global examples. Countries that did successfully repair their roofs in time, think Japan, maybe Scandinavian countries, Singapore's planning. Then countries that arguably failed, the example given was Pakistan perhaps not focusing enough on internal security early on. And countries that should repair now, many African nations regarding development, for instance.
That global context adds weight. And think historically, too, like the period between World War I and II. That failure to address the underlying crises, the unrepaired roofs, really contributed to World War II breaking out.
A powerful example. And this leads to another critical element, the anti-view. The sources actually encourage you to challenge the essay's premise sometimes. Show some nuance, some critical thinking. So for the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining, an anti-view could be that, well, reforms are a continuous process. They don't only happen in good times.
So it's not black and white. You're saying roofs can be repaired even when the sun is not shining, or challenges can be tackled during adversity, like India's response to COVID, boosting health infrastructure mid-crisis, or the 1991 financial reforms here in India, born out of crisis. That idea of Bada see disaster as an opportunity.
Exactly that. It shows sophisticated thinking, acknowledging complexity.
Okay, and finally the conclusion. How do we wrap it all up effectively?
The sources suggest bring it full circle. Reference your initial anecdote, quote, or proverb from the introduction. It creates a satisfying sense of completion, a circle of life for the essay, and maybe use some pre-prepared concluding themes, resilience, collective action, the path forward to provide a strong closing statement.
Nice. Okay, let's put these frameworks into practice. How would they apply to that CSM 2022 prompt? The time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining.
Right. So for that one, the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining.
Right.
As we've discussed, the core is proactive problem solving. So you'd introduce the, quote, interpret the roof metaphor, and then systematically explore its application across those various dimensions: literal, emotional, professional, mental, societal, environmental, maybe others you identified. Each section would stress the urgency and the potential for proactive fixes now.
Makes sense. Okay, here's another one from CSM 2015. Crisis faced in India, moral or economic?
Okay, the question. Crisis faced in India, moral or economic?
And the answer, according to our sources, isn't either, is it? It's more like both, and maybe more.
It's often a complex interplay, plus other types of crises too. So your essay would start by acknowledging India's diversity and the presence of both moral and economic challenges. Then you break it down. Moral crisis. Discuss things like corruption, gender inequality, communal tensions, caste issues. Economic crisis. Analyze income inequality, unemployment, underemployment, agricultural distress. Then, crucially, the combination of both. Explore issues with both moral and economic roots, like cyber fraud driven by greed, or maybe pollution linked to economic activity, but also moral failings. And finally, other crises. Touch upon issues that aren't purely moral or economic, like terrorism, diplomatic crises, linguistic tensions.
Right, and the sources had that helpful classification exercise, didn't they? Sorting issues into categories. Purely moral, like marriage practices, women's safety. Purely economic, like urbanization, farmer issues. Moral plus economic, like cyber fraud, pollution, corruption, inequalities. And others like terrorism, tariffs, linguistic issues.
Yes, that exercise is very useful. So for you listening, how can understanding these classifications help you structure your argument more effectively? How does it help ensure you give a truly multifaceted response to a complex prompt like that moral or economic crisis one? That's key for critical thinking.
Definitely. Now, beyond these specific structures and approaches, our sources also offered some general wisdom for essay success, kind of overarching principles.
Yes, a big one was think smart, then write smart. The emphasis isn't just on writing well, but on generating new dimensions, new subdimensions during the brainstorming phase. This skill is invaluable, really, for any random topic you might get. It trains your mind to be flexible and creative.
Think smart, then write smart. Can you give a quick example? Say the prompt was, is social media good or bad? How would that work?
Okay, quick brainstorm. Good roofs. Connection, information access, social movements, maybe economic opportunity. Bad roofs. Misinformation, addiction, mental health impacts, privacy issues. Think smart. is identifying those. Then write smart is maybe adding nuance, like it depends on usage, regulation, the platform. It's not just listing, it's structuring the thought process quickly.
Got it. That makes it concrete. And of course, practice is key.
Absolutely. Ultimately, the responsibility is on you, the student, to practice these approaches with different topics. There's no substitute.
And avoiding cliches.
Yes, strive for fresh, contemporary examples. The sources mentioned avoiding overused ones, like maybe always citing Ashok Kemka for integrity or invoking Gandhi without specific context in ethics answers. Show your reading, your awareness.
Makes sense. And a practical tip, underlining.
Simple but effective. Underline key phrases, facts, report names, government schemes, or just impactful lines. It guides the examiner's eye.
Right, highlights the good stuff.
And another crucial point, connect this to your other papers. Many of these contemporary issues, AI, mental health, terrorism, inequalities, cyber fraud, communalism, they're highly relevant for general studies, for ethics papers. It's not just about essays, it's holistic knowledge application.
Yeah.
Seeing the links.
That's a really important point. And finally, avoid rote learning, right?
Yeah.
Don't just info dump.
Exactly. Don't prepare fixed notes on broad topics like education and just regurgitate them. Focus on molding your points, your knowledge, to address the specific demand of that particular essay topic. Tailor your response.
Excellent advice. Okay, let's do a quick recap just to cement these key takeaways, for active recall.
Sounds good. We started with the categorization approach. Treating a keyword as a metaphor, exploring its multidimensional roofs, and emphasizing that proactive repair it now action. Then, the contemporary approach, focusing on current hot topics and real examples to make your essay relevant, current-oriented, and GS-based.
Right. Then we broke down the essay structure. That engaging intro with anecdote, history, roadmap, multidimensional body paragraphs flowing with implicit connectors, broadening the view with global examples and that crucial anti-view for nuance, and a conclusion that circles back neatly.
And finally, those practical tips. Think smart, then write smart for brainstorming. The absolute need for practice, using fresh, non-cliched examples, underlining key points, and always connecting your knowledge across subjects like GS and ethics. It's about being a versatile and, importantly, adaptable writer and thinker.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Well, it means you've got a toolkit. And it's not just for passing an exam, hopefully. It's for thinking more deeply, more critically, more comprehensively about, any issue that comes your way. These aren't just essay tricks. They're frameworks for understanding the world a bit better.
Indeed. Knowledge is most valuable when it's truly understood and then applied. These approaches, they really encourage you to question assumptions, consider different viewpoints, and genuinely make sense of all the information swirling around us.
So here's a final thought to take away. As you go about your day, maybe consider what other roofs in your life or in the world around you could benefit from a little repair work while the sun is shining. How can you apply this multidimensional critical thinking to your everyday challenges, your opportunities? How can you make that knowledge stick? The deep dive continues, really, long after the audio fades. Keep exploring, keep thinking, and thanks for taking this deep dive with us.